It is now official after last night's edition of Friday Night SmackDown on Fox. Roman Reigns will defend his undisputed WWE Universal Championship against Sami Zayn at Elimination Chamber later on this month in Sami Zayn's hometown of Montreal, Quebec, Canada. We got all the latest details on that, plus what happened last night on SmackDown. Speaking of the Bloodline, a tag team championship match has been confirmed for next week, but where is Jey Uso? What is his allegiance to the Bloodline? Is he even still in the Bloodline? We've got the latest details on that. Nia Jax, what's going on with her WWE future after her return at the Royal Rumble? A health update on Booker T after his cameo in the men's Rumble match. Rey Mysterio and Dominic Mysterio have a NASCAR race on SmackDown last night. Pat McAfee, was he back last night on SmackDown? What's his future looking like? Natalya, she qualifies for the Elimination Chamber match this coming month. Also, Seth Rollins trashes Logan Paul ahead of a possible WrestleMania showdown between the two. And Brock Lesnar, does he or doesn't he have heat? A WWE Hall of Famer says no. Hey guys, welcome back to Rest News 365. Hope everyone is doing very well. As always, there are plenty of news stories to get into in the world of World Wrestling Entertainment. Let's start off talking about Roman Reigns and Sami Zayn. Their title match, which everyone knew was going to happen, has now been confirmed. Well, there are plenty of great reasons to check out SmackDown this week. The topic of the Bloodline is at the top of most people's minds. After the shocking ending to the Royal Rumble, which saw Sami Zayn hit Roman Reigns with a chair and subsequently pay dearly for the betrayal, last night's SmackDown was set to potentially answer fans' burning questions about what's going on with everyone involved. Is Jey Uso still in the Bloodline? What's going on? Well, at the beginning of the episode, Caleb Braxton attempted to get an interview with a tribal chief backstage to clarify the situation, but was rebuffed, although acknowledged by Paul Heyman. Later, in a backstage segment, Roman Reigns questioned Jimmy Uso regarding having spoken to Jey. First asking if he had heard from Jey, when Jimmy reported he hadn't, Reigns tested the waters further by questioning Jimmy if he found it disrespectful to ignore him for an entire week. Roman didn't seem to see the emotional response from his cousin he had hoped for. Again, doubling down, demanding to know if Jimmy had spoken to Jey, Jimmy again insisted that he hadn't, while some people are thinking that, he might be lying. Now, when Roman asked Solo Sikoa if he had heard from Jey, he didn't answer. Rather, Jimmy answered for him, noting that if he hadn't heard from him, then nobody had. Now later, in another locker room segment, Heyman reported to Reigns he still couldn't reach Jey as his phone goes straight to voicemail. Roman then called back in Jimmy and Solo, apologized for his behavior earlier, noting that he's been under a lot of stress, but gave the pair their orders. Reigns reporting that Heyman had steak and sushi sent to the bus. He wanted Jimmy and Solo to wait in the bus while he went to the ring to handle some business. After Reigns made his typically impressive ring entrance, he was noted by Michael Cole on commentary to be only flanked by Paul Heyman. On the mic, Reigns said he would rather be talking about Cody Rhodes as the winner of the Royal Rumble and, quote, someone who deserves my attention, but, quote, you simple folks have reduced me to talking about the past, end quote. As the crowd chanted for Sami, Roman said that he had to tell his side of the story, and had to do so, he had to go back to War Games. While describing the greed he saw in Sami's eyes, he knew that he was just like everyone else the tribal chief interacts with, in that he's just out to get something from him. However, his words were thunderously interrupted when a hooded figure attacked Reigns from behind, revealing himself to be none other than Sami Zayn while he assaulted the tribal chief. Zayn saying, quote, you're wrong about me. I never wanted anything from you. I never wanted anything from you until now. I want something from you now, and I'm going to take it because I'm coming after you and the WWE Undisputed Universal Championship. However, his triumph was also short-lived as he turned to face a big kick in the face from Jimmy Uso as he and Solo Sikoa attacked. Laying out Zayn with a Samoan spike, the assault continued as Jimmy put a chair around Zayn's neck as Roman Reigns returned to the ring. With Reigns stopping Sikoa from taking the honor, instead, Roman got in the face of a downed Sami, telling Zayn that he ruined his family, so he will ruin him in front of his entire family in Montreal at Elimination Chamber. Of course, the Elimination Chamber premium live event is set for February 18, 2023. Now, some people are questioning, does WWE have a problem on their hands with all of this? Because, as Reigns said, at WrestleMania, we know the main event. It's Roman Reigns versus Cody Rhodes for the WWE Undisputed Championship. However, everyone's focused on this Sami Zayn storyline right now. It's the most popular thing in WWE right now. The reaction that Sami Zayn got when he came out last night was thunderous. It was deafening. And could, with the promos that Cody Rhodes are cutting, like he did on Monday, will people start to turn on Cody Rhodes eventually? It's a possibility. And what does WWE do? Because we know Sami Zayn is not winning the Undisputed Universal Championship at Elimination Chamber. He's going to lose in his hometown. He's going to become even more sympathetic. And WWE may have then backed themselves into a corner where they have to maybe add Zayn to the main event of WrestleMania or change plans completely. Or do they stick with Cody and Roman, even though right now it might not be the most popular option? Now, Michael Cole, in the midst of all of this, has highly praised this storyline, of course, following Roman Reigns' defeat of Kevin Owens at the Royal Rumble this past weekend. The riveting escalation of the Bloodline storyline was subject to conversation among most wrestling fans. Even SmackDown commentator Michael Cole, who caught the action on Saturday night, and he was blown away by how incredible the drama of this entire storyline arc has been. Speaking on the Pat McAfee show, Cole remarked on the aftermath of the Reigns-Owen main event, where after watching his former best friend take a severe beating at the hands of the Bloodline and being tasked with delivering a vicious chair shot to a defenseless Owens to cap it all off, Zayn clocked Reigns instead, setting in motion a punishment that he'd also receive. Quote, "The last 15 minutes of the event Saturday night, Pat, we didn't say a word. We did not utter a sound for the last 15 minutes of that show," Cole stated. When Zayn turned on Roman Reigns and hit him with the chair, that pop was enormous. Zayn, of course, spent the last 9 months seeking acceptance into the Samoan family led by the tribal chief and his nearly 900-day reign as champion. After finally becoming an honorary Uso, Zayn's status within the Bloodline had been on shaky ground lately, though, with his loyalty being questioned upon Kevin Owens' problematic inclusion into the mix. For Cole, the longtime voice of WWE, not only is this storyline one of the best tales WWE has ever told, it's award-worthy. Quote, "This Roman Reigns, Kevin Owens, Bloodline, Sami Zayn story is probably the best television we've done in a decade," Cole declared, and it's Emmy-worthy in many ways. So I put it to you, the WrestleNews 365 community. Is this whole storyline, is the Roman Reigns, Sami Zayn Bloodline drama, is it worthy of an Emmy? Do you think that's too far? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Speaking of the Bloodline, though, they still got championships to defend, but one half of the tag team champions remains nowhere to be seen. Last night on SmackDown, Braun Strowman and Ricochet defeated Imperium in the finals of the SmackDown Tag Title Contenders Tournament on the February 3rd edition of SmackDown, earning a shot at the Usos' Blue Brand titles for next week's show. However, Jey Uso was conspicuous by his absence Friday, which has cast serious doubt over the Usos' upcoming title defense. During the show, as I mentioned, Roman Reigns and Jimmy Uso were seen talking backstage about Jey's whereabouts, with Reigns ordering Solo Sikoa to find Jey and to find out where his loyalty lies. Jey wrote, quote, "I'm out" on social media in the aftermath of the Royal Rumble, where he seemingly sided with his dog, Sami Zayn, in the ongoing Bloodline saga. Even as the rest of the Bloodline destroyed Zayn for striking Reigns with a chair, a teary-eyed Jey rolled out of the ring and left the arena as Jimmy yelled, "You ain't my brother," during Zayn's beatdown. While WWE is still promoting the Usos versus Ricochet and Strowman for next week's show, Michael Cole reiterated on commentary that uncertainty surrounds the match since nobody is aware of Jey's whereabouts. Later on in the night, as I mentioned, you had this situation, you had this angle where you had Sami Zayn attacking Roman Reigns, but then the Bloodline once again attacking Sami. And as I mentioned, Reigns accepted the challenge for Elimination Chamber as he promised to teach Zayn a lesson for breaking up my family in front of Zayn's hometown fans in Montreal, Quebec, Canada. But what was very interesting, certainly, was the show went off the air with fans in Greenville, South Carolina chanting Jey as Reigns fumed because he doesn't know where Jey is. So is Jey going to show up next week on SmackDown? Are Strowman and Ricochet going to win the SmackDown tag team titles because they're only facing Jimmy? What's going to happen? We'll have to find out next week on Fox. Nia Jax was back at the Rumble, but is she back full-time? What's going on? Well, Royal Rumble was one of WWE's most highly anticipated shows. It is every year. It kicks off the road to WrestleMania, where both men and women compete for a title opportunity at the Showcase of Immortals. But fans also look forward to the surprise entrance. We've seen the likes of AJ Styles make his WWE debut at the Royal Rumble, Edge make his triumphant return to the Squared Circle, even Mickie James show up as Impact Wrestling's Knockouts champion last year. While there were far fewer surprises this year, we did see a shocking appearance from the irresistible full force herself. Nia Jax, during the Sign It live stream of High Spots, she was asked whether she knew a month in advance that she was going to be in the Rumble. She said, quote, "No, I did not," she said, adding that her appearance was so last minute, she didn't even have her gear ready at the time. "I had it very quickly rushed." It was a surprise to see Jax back in the ring after she turned down the Royal Rumble last year and even stated she's not likely to return to wrestling again. The former Raw Women's Champion was released by WWE back in November 2021. Since then, she hasn't wrestled a single match for any promotion. Now, there's no official word on whether the return was just a one-off appearance or if she's back with the company full-time. WWE did release new Nia Jax merchandise on their shop, which could possibly indicate she's signed a new deal, but she's still listed in the alumni section of the roster page and has yet to appear on either Raw or SmackDown, so we just don't really know. And again, it was a return, in my opinion, that many people were calling for, but we'll have to wait and see if she does indeed return full-time. Another surprise, of course, was Booker T, and almost a week later, Booker T is still feeling the effects of his involvement in the Royal Rumble. On the latest episode of the Hall of Fame podcast, the two-time WWE Hall of Famer laughed about how he's still struggling to recover physically after being one of the surprise entrants in this year's Men's Rumble match. Quote, "I'm not feeling really jacked right now because my back is spasmed out," Booker T laughed as he relayed how he's been feeling since Saturday night. "That spinneroonie, man, that spinneroonie got me locked up right there," he said. "I'm trying to unlock my hips. Once I got that text message, I didn't have time to warm up, and those hips right there locked up on me. I put some heat on it, but that made it worse." Now, of course, Booker T was in the match for less than a minute, but in that time he managed to hit Dominic Mysterio with a bookend and then capped it all off with his iconic spinneroonie, but he was tossed out by Gunther immediately afterwards. The former WWE and WCW star claimed there's no more wrestling for him after this lengthy recovery period, chalking up his old profession to a young man's game. He said, quote, "I'm done, man. I'm done this time. I'm serious," he said. "The Rumble this year, it let me know, man. The adrenaline that I got out of it, the rush, what a rush it was. You don't get tired of that. It never gets old, but the body gets old. The old body just, you can't push yourself too hard like that. A man's got to know his limitations." I still think he'll probably wrestle again. He's been wrestling infrequently for a Reality of Wrestling, his promotion in Houston, Texas, and I think he'll probably continue doing that. Last night, Rey Mysterio and Dominic Mysterio, they had a NASCAR race. Now, during a segment on Friday's episode of SmackDown, Dominic and Rey Mysterio continued their father-son feud, this time on a NASCAR track. In a segment that was filmed on Thursday, Dominic and the rest of Judgment Day were seen interrupting Rey and the New Day as they spoke with professional driver Michael Waltrip and commentator Clint Bowyer, easy for me to say. Dominic and his friends were also joined by NASCAR pro Ross Chastain, and after some back and forth trash talk between the two, soon both Rey and Dominic were suiting up to race. After suiting up and saying he woke up and pissed excellent, Dominic's got into the car opposite his father and the two were off. The two then did a lap around the track and continued talking trash, with Rey eventually getting the upper hand with a win and a chance to quote Talladega Nights The Ballad of Ricky Bobby in the process. Following the win, the New Day lifted up Rey, who celebrated while Dominic accused him of cheating, and a brawl nearly broke out. So a nice bit of integration there that I'm sure Fox will be very happy with. And it continues the feud between Dominic and Rey as they head to WrestleMania. Of course, Dominic Mysterio, they seemingly implied attack Rey Mysterio, preventing him from being in the Royal Rumble last weekend. In reality, Rey Mysterio had suffered an injury and was pulled from the match, but it still feels likely we're going to get Dominic and Rey at WrestleMania later on this year. Pat McAfee was not on SmackDown last night after making his return to WWE this past weekend, or last weekend rather. Pat McAfee, many hoped to see on commentary this week. When SmackDown kicked off, fans may have been hopeful to see McAfee back at the commentary desk. However, no dice. The commentary team of Michael Cole and Wade Barrett persisted without any mention of a potential return date for McAfee. We don't know, and to be honest, when he was on the Pat McAfee show this week, Michael Cole, they kind of hinted that they were unsure if McAfee would ever come back, but because of his commitments to these various projects that he's going on. I think what could be a possibility is that he comes in as a premium live event or pay-per-view commentator. That might be a possibility, so we could see that team that we saw at the Royal Rumble of Cole, Graves, and McAfee maybe more often. Maybe that's more likely to happen. I don't know, but last night, McAfee wasn't on the show. Natalya is going to Elimination Chamber in her home country ahead of the upcoming premium live event in Montreal, Quebec, Canada. Elimination Chamber, another woman earned her spot in the match. During a vicious fatal four-way to determine the spot amongst the WWE SmackDown stars, Shotzi, Shayna Baszler, Zelina Vega, and Natalya went to war. In the end, it was Natalya who picked up the victory with applying the sharpshooter on Zelina Vega, who tapped out. On Monday Night Raw, there will be one final qualifying match, another fatal four-way to determine the last spot in the Women's Elimination Chamber match. Candice LeRae, Michin, Mia Yim, Carmella, and Piper Niven will do battle to determine who will be the final announced participant in the match. Joining the 4 other stars who were established by being the last to be eliminated from the Royal Rumble, omitting, of course, the eventual winner, Rhea Ripley. Nikki Cross, Raquel Rodriguez, Liv Morgan, and Asuka, but last night's winner Natalia, plus last night's winners Natalia, will meet at the Premium Live event in an attempt to win the Elimination Chamber match. Of course, the winner of the match will receive a title shot against Bianca Belair for the Raw Women's Championship at WrestleMania 39 in Los Angeles, California. Who do you think it's going to be? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. This is interesting. Of course, Seth freaking Rollins was eliminated by Logan Paul at the Royal Rumble, and all signs point to a marquee match between Rollins and Paul at WrestleMania 39. The seeds were sown, as I mentioned, at last Saturday's 30-man Royal Rumble match, where Paul eliminated Rollins from the Battle Royal, and showboated for several seconds, and even seemed to taunt Rollins by imitating the Visionary's mannerisms. On Friday, Paul once again mocked Rollins by posting a video from the Rumble elimination, which ends up with Rollins photoshopped in clown makeup. Of course, this past Monday on Raw, Rollins was asked about Logan Paul in a backstage segment, and he just walked away. Now, in response, Rollins has explained why he took issue with Paul bragging about the elimination. This was on Instagram Live, and it's got a lot of people talking that there could be actual legitimate issues between the two. Here's the video. Let me know what you think.
I don't know about Logan Paul. All I know is I don't really like Logan Paul. Yeah, look, I'll just say it. A lot of us don't really like Logan Paul. We don't. I don't like Logan Paul. I don't really need him in my locker room, in my space. Great guys, ultra talented as far as athletic ability is concerned. Snuck up on me at the Rumble, dumped me, fine, whatever. I took my eyes off the ball. That one's on me. But don't go bragging about it like you did something otherworldly. I mean, it's probably the coolest thing Logan's ever going to do in his life is throw me out of the Rumble. But I just advise him to stay in his lane, I guess is what I would say. Because, he's had freak, no doubt about it. But at the end of the day, he's not a wrestler, He doesn't want to be a wrestler. He just wants to be famous. He doesn't care about the industry. He's not a wrestler. And so I think best for him to just stay in his lane, whatever his lane is. I don't know, like buying counterfeit Pokemon cards. If that's your lane, stay in that lane. They'll knock you out. And you don't have your brother for backup because he's about to get cooked by this dude coming up in a couple weeks or whatever, and he's not going to be around. So at some point, we're going to have to come face to face, and I just really don't think he wants to. I don't think he wants none, as they say, I guess. So that's all I'm going to say about LP, as they call him. Don't love him. Come in, do your thing, do your little thing, and get your little, oh, very good, Logan Paul, very good, your little claps and all that. Oh, Logan Paul, have everybody hold your hand, great. But don't be bragging about throwing me out of the Rumble. It's kind of calling me a clown. Look at this guy, right? So that's all. I'll get all that out of the way, and then we'll move on. So yeah,
I mean, it's interesting because I think people who took that a bit too seriously said there's real life heat. They're clearly working a match at WrestleMania, in my opinion. Finally, Brock Lesnar, does he have heat in WWE? According to Booker T, the answer would be no. Again, there had been reports that Lesnar had some heat backstage after he was eliminated by Bobby Lashley. He had his freak out moment, which was planned, but certain things were not planned, i.e. manhandling WWE referee Eddie Orengo, throwing him over the barricade and possibly injuring him. Well, Booker T, he's not buying it. He said, quote, "Whoever wrote that story, man, they should be fired. They really should," Booker T said on his Hall of Fame podcast. What do they know about heat? If Brock Lesnar got heat, trust me, he's not going to know about it. Who's going to tell him? This guy is drawing money to the show, all right, that's why. He's a major player. When I first saw that story, I just shook my head and went, wow. Now, as I mentioned, I think, look, Brock Lesnar might have heat, but at the end of the day, it really doesn't matter, because who's going to take umbrage with Brock Lesnar? Nobody. He's the highest paid guy in WWE. He draws a ton of money. He doesn't care. If anyone says anything to him, he'll beat the hell out of them. And that's how it works with Brock Lesnar. Now, when it comes to his future plans, it does look like he's scheduled for another showdown with Bobby Lashley after Lashley eliminated him at the Royal Rumble. Whether that takes place at Elimination Chamber or WrestleMania remains to be seen. Most people are speculating Elimination Chamber just because Lashley and Lesnar aren't booked for any matches for it just yet. But it has been confirmed and reported by various outlets that Lesnar is indeed going to be working that show. So keep an eye out for Brock Lesnar versus Bobby Lashley Part 3. But there you go, guys. It's the latest WWE news for you. Be sure to smash the like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe, bottom right hand corner. Let me know your thoughts on today's WWE news stories in the comment section below, and I'll speak to you again very soon.
Hey guys, thank you for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today. Be sure to click on the video on the right there to watch our next video, or click the bottom there to subscribe, or the bottom right hand corner. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you again very soon.